Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that can make or break a project, and we're going to tackle it like a top-tier consultant would, controlling your physical resources. And hey, this isn't just about tracking stuff on a spreadsheet. It's about taking command to make sure your project actually succeeds. So let's get right to it. Every single project, I don't care if you're building a skyscraper or launching a new app, it runs on physical stuff. And the line between smooth sailing and, well, total chaos is all about how well you manage those assets. So you have to ask yourself, are you actually steering the ship, or are you just along for the ride, hoping for the best? Okay, let's stick with that ship analogy for a second, because it's a good one. You, the project manager, you're the captain. The project plan, that's your map, your charted course. But a map is totally useless if you don't have fuel or food or supplies, and that's your resources. So effective resource control, that's the real work of managing your inventory, making sure you can handle any storms, and have exactly what you need right when you need it to get to your destination. And the project management body of knowledge, the PMBOK guide, actually gives us a really solid definition for this. But listen to the key words here: ensuring, monitoring, and taking corrective action. See, this isn't a passive job where you just check boxes. It's an active, ongoing cycle of command and control over the very lifeblood of your project. Because when you lose that control, wow, the consequences are fast and they are severe. If you don't get that critical piece of equipment on time, your whole schedule just grinds to a halt. If you try to save a few bucks by ordering cheaper materials, you could tank your product's quality, leading to all sorts of rework. And it works the other way too. Having too much stuff lying around, that just ties up cash and drives up costs. It is a really delicate balance, and if you get it wrong, your project is heading for failure. So, the big question is, how do we master this? Well, we're going to approach this with a consultant's mindset, using a simple but incredibly powerful three-step loop. We monitor, we analyze, and then we act. This framework takes the fuzzy idea of control and turns it into a concrete strategy you can literally start using tomorrow. All right, let's dive into step 1, monitor your baseline. It's simple, right? You can't control what you can't see. This whole phase is about systematically gathering your data, basically figuring out what normal is supposed to look like. This is your intelligence gathering mission. So these 5 inputs you see here, straight from the PMBOK framework, they're like your diagnostic toolkit. Think about it. The resource management plan is your rulebook. The assignments and schedules tell you what should be happening and when. Then you've got work performance data. That's the raw truth from the field, the actual hours spent, the actual materials used. And your agreements? That's your leverage with outside suppliers. Put them all together and you get a complete, factual baseline. This is the foundation for everything else. Okay, so now that we have all that monitoring data, we move into step 2, analysis. And this is key because raw data on its own is just noise. A great project manager, a great consultant, transforms that noise into real, actionable intelligence. This is where you figure out what's really going on and spot those dangerous trends before they can completely derail your project. And you've got a powerful toolkit to do just that. Alternatives analysis helps you weigh your options. Like if you're short on materials, do you pay a fortune for rush shipping or do you just accept a delay? Cost-benefit analysis helps you make the most financially sound choice. Performance reviews are that fundamental gut check, what we planned versus what actually happened. And trend analysis, that's all about seeing the bigger picture. Really, the whole analysis process comes down to this one simple comparison: what you planned to do versus what actually happened. And that gap, the space between your plan and reality, has a name. It's called a variance. A tiny variance? It might be nothing. But a big one, or one that keeps growing, that is a massive red flag. It's a signal that something you thought was true isn't, and it needs your attention, like right now. And that's why trend analysis is so powerful. Is that fact that you're burning through fuel too fast a one-time thing? Or is it happening every single week? That's a huge distinction, right? Because it's the difference between patching a single small leak and realizing your entire ship might not be seaworthy. Trend analysis helps you tell the difference between a blip and a pattern, and that is the secret to getting ahead of problems instead of just reacting to them. Okay, let's make this real. Take a look at this chart. It's a performance review for steel beams. We plan to use 100 tons. Simple enough. But we actually used 115 tons. That's a 15% variance, and seeing it like this makes it impossible to ignore. So now the real work starts. Why? Was it waste? Did the design change? Was our original estimate just flat out wrong?
That variance is the clue that kicks off your whole investigation.
But, just finding that 15% variance isn't the end of it. Not even close. Now the human element kicks in. To get to the root cause, you need some serious problem-solving skills. To fix it, you might have to get on the phone and negotiate with a supplier, or maybe influence some key stakeholders to get a change approved. The numbers are just the start. Your analysis is only as good as your ability to work with people to solve the problem. All right, so we've monitored the baseline, we've analyzed the variances, now we get to the most important part of the entire loop, the part that actually changes things. Step 3, acting with precision. This is where you grab the wheel and make those course corrections. And here's a mantra that every great manager, every top consultant lives by. Insight is absolutely useless without action. You can have the most brilliant analysis in the world, but if it just sits in a report, it's worthless. You have to translate that insight into real, tangible changes that get the project back on track. Your main output from all of this work is something the PMBOK calls work performance information. Now notice the word change. You started with raw work performance data, but after you analyze it, you have information. It's data plus context plus insight. It doesn't just say we used 115 tons of steel. It says we are 15% over budget on steel because of an unexpected design change, and here's what we propose to do about it. See the difference? That's the intelligence you can actually act on.
And these are the tools you use, the formal levers you pull to make things happen. If you need more money or more time because of that steel issue, you submit a formal change request. It's the official process. Then you update the project management plan itself, your budget, your schedule, so that everyone is now working from this new approved reality. And finally, you update your other project documents, like your risk register, because maybe your solution introduced a new risk. This isn't just winging it. It's a disciplined, documented way of steering the ship.
Okay, so we've gone through the whole monitor, analyze, act loop. But let's take a step back. Why do we go through all this trouble? What's the real ultimate payoff here? At the end of the day, it all comes down to this one simple but incredibly powerful idea from the PMBOK guide. The whole point is to make sure the right stuff is available to the project at the right time and in the right place. That's it. This process is what creates predictability. It's what stops your teams from standing around waiting for materials. It builds a stable, reliable environment where people can actually focus on their work instead of just constantly fighting fires. And this isn't just about dodging bullets or avoiding disaster. It's about striving for true operational excellence. I mean, just imagine a project where 99.8% of the time, the tools and materials your team needs are right there, exactly when they need them. Think about the momentum that creates, the efficiency, the morale. That's the gold standard we're aiming for. And this control process is how you get there. You're eliminating all the friction that just kills productivity. And that brings us right back to our captain and the ship. This whole structured process, this is how the captain brings the ship safely to port. It's not about being some rigid micromanager barking orders. No, it's about having the intelligence to see the storm on the horizon, the wisdom to analyze the best way through it, and the guts to act decisively. It's that agile, intelligent command that makes sure you deliver your project on time, on budget, and to the quality you promised. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Take a hard look at your own projects. Are you just tracking your resources, just keeping score and reporting on what went wrong after the fact? Or are you truly controlling your project's destiny? Because making that shift from being a passive scorekeeper to an active strategic controller, that's what separates the good project managers from the great ones.